Hello everyone and welcome back. So today it is just less than a week until I go back to school, and so I'm going to share some back to school tips and tricks for you to get the most out of your school year, whether you're going into fourth year, fifth year, or lower sixth like I am, or even if you're in first or third year where things are just getting started. I have some tips to give you the best experience so that you can get the best grades. Tip number one, organization. So going to school, obviously you have to organise getting to school, you have to organise going through your day, getting through your classes in time, but on top of that you have to organise homework, you have to organise any sort of social aspect you want to have in your life, and tests that are being given out left, right and centre. So for homework, I decided to have a designated hard work day, which was Saturday morning. On a Saturday morning I would get done all of my essay writing and German oral answers when possible, so that it meant that during the week I could focus on the smaller tasks which are going to be given out for the next day. Usually, for example, a maths homework that you get given the day, say do this for tomorrow, or science homework where they say do these questions for tomorrow. And then I could focus maybe an hour or two into writing a good essay on a Saturday morning, getting it done before 10 o'clock, and then being able to enjoy the rest of my Saturday. For homeworks, I definitely recommend spreading out the tasks. Obviously, if you get bombarded with 9 homeworks in one day, which did happen to me once in fifth year, when I just got homework from every single class I was at, in 2 classes I got 2 homeworks, it was a nightmare. However, I decided to look at the homeworks I was given and decide when I was going to do them. I had an English essay, which I just did that Saturday morning. I had a couple of small homeworks, maths homeworks, I had a couple of small biology question answering homework, which at that time I thought, how am I going to do these 9 homeworks with the homeworks I'd already gotten over the week for the days? But I realised that obviously not all the homeworks were being given out for the same day. I had the whole week to get them all done. Some didn't have to be given in until the next week, some didn't have to be given in until even the week after that. And so I split them out in order of priority or in order of my enjoyment of doing them. So here I have a hypothetical week of homeworks. As you can see, Tuesday's just finished, I had my maths and biology homework done, and for tomorrow I just have some pages of a chemistry textbook to read. Obviously that's not too difficult, I just need to get my head around it, do it and understand it, but that would be done closer to the time, so that's going to be the last thing I do, so that's fresh in my mind for chemistry the next day. Then for the Thursday I have an English essay and I have maths questions. Now maths is obviously going to be the quickest and easiest to do that first, get it over and done with. The English essay, I was split up into 3 different parts. We have part 1, paragraph 1, paragraph 2 and 3, paragraph 4, and conclusion. Now, what I could do is I could get 1 paragraph out of the way and just have that to do, or I could even do paragraph 2 and 3, or just paragraph 2, which leaves me just with paragraph 4 and conclusion, and then reading over it for the next day. And now on this Tuesday night, it's come to the end of the day, and I want to read the chemistry textbook. Get that out of the way. Now, I could read that on the way to school. The next day I wouldn't recommend, but it's possible. But that leaves me just with the last paragraph of my English essay and some German oral questions on RE research to do for Friday, which means that I have done quite a bit of the work for the rest of the week, but I've only done 3 things that I could have had to do all on the Wednesday night. Could you imagine doing a full English essay in that one night? I couldn't cope. I would probably give up and say to my teacher, nope, sorry, not happening. So split the things up. German oral questions, if I've got 6 to do, I'll split it up into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Thanks, sadly did not get the weekend to do this, or I would have done it on my Saturday morning day. However, that's just how these things work. RE, I did usually get an RE homework on Monday, and it had to be done for the Friday, but it meant that I didn't get any from Friday to Monday, which was nice. So part 2 of organisation is notes and book organisation. What I did was I had one big file which I brought everything in except for RE, which you only had on a Monday and a Friday, and so it made sense just to have it in its own folder. However, I put all my notes that I was working on at that time in class, so I could have had a couple of pages of maths I was doing, a chemistry notes book from class, a biology notes book and physics notes book, which usually you'd be going over one at a time. Then I'd have maybe a couple of English pages or some printouts of English text that we were analysing at that time. And it meant that I had to carry the least amount of stuff in my bag at once, or your bag is going to weigh more than you, which I did at one point in fourth year. And then it meant that you had more room for other things you may need. I was able to have other stuff like a pencil case inside my bag, which wouldn't fit otherwise. I was able to bring in maths equipment like a ruler, and it didn't get broken with the sheer amount of things in my bag. When textbooks had to be brought in, I I hated it. Your bag just gets heavier and heavier with every textbook they force you to bring in. However, I had the room now because I only had a small amount of things. And obviously, you're going to be giving out more and more booklets as the year goes on. So I transferred them to, or migrated them as I called it, to a file for each subject. So we've had my chemistry file, which is a big lever arch file where I put in every single chemistry book I got in order, biology one, physics one, example. And it just meant that my bag never got too heavy. One singular file, which I brought with me every day, never got too heavy. And if a teacher said, does anyone have the book for this? You'd say, no, I have it stored at home in this thing. And they'd say, bring it for me next time, which obviously isn't too bad. If you need it that day, that's a bit annoying. However, I did survive the year without needing anything because I did keep my stuff in my big folder for quite a while until I really thought I didn't need it anymore and there was going to be no point in me bringing it anymore. But it significantly reduced the amount of weight in my bag. I did empty it, like do a big clean out where I just went, you bin, you can go in the file, you can go in here, which like properly decreased, like dramatically decreased the weight in my bag. So it weighed from my weight, close enough, to as light as a feather in no time. Tip number 2, revision. We all, well, most of us don't like revision. I don't mind revision, I'm weird like that. One of my main tips for revision, and just in the long run, is revise for your class tests. Yes, you may be thinking, oh, I've got my biology test on osmosis tomorrow and I cannot be bothered with this. Why do I need to do this class test? Believe it or not, the tests are there. Hopefully, this is why I think the teachers do it, is so that whenever you finish a topic, you go over, you do some past paper questions, and then you get a test which makes you have to think about the whole topic as a whole topic in one go and pour out all your knowledge into this test. Yes, it's really annoying whenever you have 6 of them in 1 week from different teachers. However, if you revise for them, you can do well in them, which doesn't seem fine at the time. You're going, this doesn't matter. This is not part of my GCSE. It is part of your GCSE because all the little increments of knowledge you take in then will stick with you until May and June. So what I would do was I would pretend it is the real GCSE. This is an exam I'm taking, which counts. It doesn't, but in my head it counted, and I would pretend it's real GCSE and revise hard for it. I didn't stress about it. There were times when I was thinking, I have so many other things I need to be doing. I have an English essay due tomorrow. I have mountains of maths homeworks due tomorrow. I can't revise for this test, but what I would do is I would learn bits. I would think about the things that I knew and leave them and go over the hardest parts, go in and do the exam. It didn't matter if I didn't do well because I knew that I had put in some effort into learning some of the sections of the test, some things I knew would be coming up, some things I didn't think would come up, which didn't come up, thankfully. I just left for that time, or some things I didn't think would come up did come up. I just guessed and tried my best. Then you see from your result what you did well and what you need to learn better from, or learn better next time for your actual exam as well. What I would do is I would revise 2 days before a class test. So if my test was on a Tuesday, I would start on Saturday and revise Saturday. I didn't do any work on Sundays because that's just a thing I have decided to do. Sundays, no work. I'd revise on the Monday night, go in and do the test on Tuesday. If it was on a Thursday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And that gives you the amount of time to designate sections. So do the first half on Tuesday, second half on Wednesday, and go in and do it on a Thursday. Maybe at lunchtime on Thursday or break time in the morning, I'd go over it in the book just to see what I knew, what I needed to learn that last minute information. Another thing about class tests is testing yourself with friends, but not immediately before the test, because that stresses you out, makes you think you don't know anything. If you do it maybe at break time or lunchtime, if your test is later on in the day, you can really get a lot out of asking your friends, or the questions your friends ask you are probably things they're not entirely sure about, or they're thinking, this is something I learned and I think it's, something you may not have picked up on. So I'm going to ask you it, not telling you this, so that you're going to get stuck. That happened quite a lot. Or me and a friend had this thing where for physics definitions of laws, we would say, what's this law? And we both rhyme it off in our heads as fast as we could. And then, of course, the laws in physics do tend to come up in your class test, so you'd write them down quickly, get it out of the way, and go, I'm glad I did that this morning. I'm glad I learned that first thing this morning, and I could use it in the exam. Now, for general notes, what I did was in 5th year, not in 4th year. 4th year was not great for this, but 5th year, I did this for every subject. As soon as you finish the topping class, say we finished the heart and biology and circulatory system, I would go home and I would write out my notes Not all at once, just maybe like over like a page of notes every day until that was done. It meant that I didn't have piles of notes here that I hadn't done, some notes here that I had done. It meant that as soon as it was done, I'd do the notes. Obviously, at this point, it doesn't matter if you don't get them done or if you take longer than you want, because you don't need to do this, but it gets you on top of all your work. It means that you don't need to panic about the amount of revision that's in front of you. And it meant that when it came round to May and June, all I had to do was look over my notes, look over the textbooks and the revision guides, and just do past paper questions. Tip number 3, get involved in school in some aspect. Personally, I hated just standing around at lunchtime unless I did have a test. I hated just waiting for that length of time doing nothing. Even I didn't really like walking around just talking to someone. I'd rather be doing something and talking to someone. So I took up maybe too many extracurricular activities. I think I was involved in 9 things at the same time. I'd have had something every single lunchtime. A couple of lunchtimes I did have to choose between what I'd go to that time, and I had things on the break times as well. That's probably not the best advice. However, if you get involved in a couple of things that keep you interested, it will make school more enjoyable. It will make school more fun, more interesting, because you want to go and do this activity that you are passionate about. I was in everything musical that there was in school, pretty much. I was in all the SU related activities. I was in chamber choir, which I was asked to join this year, which was really fun. I did enjoy that. And it's just a great way to get to make friends through these things that you get to see on a regular basis and don't have to go, let's meet up at lunchtime outside this classroom where neither of us are actually going to be, but it's the closest place. You go to a place and you do make these friends. I have a lot of friends who are in different years than me who I've met through the various activities I do every week. And I do think that extracurricular activities do make your school life a lot more enjoyable. It does give you something to look forward to in the school day if you don't particularly like the whole academic aspect of sitting in the classroom and being taught knowledge that it is pretty much useless unless you're going to do that as your job. I do agree with that. But yeah, I was really involved, maybe a bit too involved in school. I do think you can tone it back a bit, maybe not 9 things at a time. That was an interesting one in my German oral. How many extracurricular activities are you in? I'm in 9. Let me list them all in German and talk about every single one individually. That was a long question 8 in my German oral. That was too long. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I have some more videos that I've made on my channel. If you want to go watch them, go ahead. Thank you, and see you all next time. Bye.